Tell me a little bit um, about working together. Are the dynamics different at work than they are when you're at home with the kids? How does that change? And tell me a little bit about that.
Well, you're the boss on that. We always try to keep a line really professional. Most of my clients that I handle some of the cases, they don't know that Nathan is my husband. I mean, it's something that we try to keep personal because it's not part of the job, you know. So we're trying to keep really professional at the work. I always trying to talk with Nathan as if I talking with another other attorney. When I'm with clients and with court, it always is Mr. Elmore for me.
Mhm.
It's how we start working together, and for me, it was a line of respect. And we share ideas. Nathan is really open-minded to hear ideas about how future work, future ideas, future work. He's really supportive as a boss. He really care a lot around all their employees around me about how I can manage the clients, how we can work. So for me, be with him at the office and then at home, um, I think we enjoy it. I mean, sometimes we have our moments, we have up and downs, and it's normal. Or sometimes
Right.
we have a lot of work and we bring the stress at home, but we try to manage to enjoy dinner, have a glass of wine, cook together, have dinner with the girls, and forget about that bad
Hmm.
day. Because tomorrow I'm gonna see him again,
Right.
so we're gonna deal with that.
Right.
But we has been it's going to be 13 years marriage and working together close to 15
Yeah, we worked together before
for
before we were married. So yeah, I agree with Carla. I think at the office, I mean we're husband and wife, and I'm not afraid to give my wife a kiss at the office. But the dynamics there is different. You know, you have to communicate um, efficiently. You know, you're trying to get a job done, and sometimes I have to give instructions, and I talk to my wife in order to give her those instructions in a way that's different from talking to your wife at home. And if I get a little if I get a little too direct with my instructions, she'll let me know. So sometimes we have to work at that. But she's actually the one that's most guilty of bringing work back home. So she'll talk to me about cases, and obviously, if it's a pressing matter and something that deserves immediate attention, then we'll talk about a case or a situation that's come up. But I think as far as managing it, if I were writing a how-to, it would be that when you come home, try to be at home and try to leave the successes and the failures and the problems of work at the office, so that you can enjoy cooking a meal together, sitting around with the family, spending time with the girls, uh, you know, spending time out in the yard, out in the garden, whatever the case may be, because that is certainly a danger in any relationship where a husband and wife work together, that you never really step away from the job. And I think we do a pretty good job on that, but always working at it.
Yeah. Yeah. So we talked a little bit about culture. There are a few other things, obviously, that go into marriages. I guess anytime you're joining your life with someone else, um, it could be things like how you were raised and how you want to raise your children. You mentioned religion a little bit. Um, Gender roles sometimes, depending on the couple, can be a conversation to be had. How have you guys worked through those types of issues?
well I mean we don't have any issue regarding the religion. I was blessed because I came to Mississippi, and in Mississippi you don't see a lot of Catholics,
Mm-hmm.
but so you have a strong religion and culture about religion. I'm really close to the church. My mom is really close to the church. We're Catholic, so I was happy to find out that Nathan was a Catholic. And regarding the girls, we has been always pushing the religion because they spend a lot of time with my mom, and my mom trying to guide them to the religion. Every Sunday mass. So we don't have any issues regarding that.
I mean, I wouldn't say we push them.
No.
I would just say that, they go to church and they go to a Catholic school, and it's really more an opportunity than anything. The school is less than a mile from where we live. It's a nice community alongside the church. And so that's good. And we don't, Carla's the leader in the family as far as, getting the girls to church and sort of taking the leadership in that aspect of our lives. And she does a real good job with it, for us and particularly for the girls. So, and, when it comes to, managing the kids, probably most couples out there have different styles. The father may take one approach to discipline, for example, and the mother take a different role. And I don't guess you have to be cross-cultural for that to be present. Sometimes we disagree, and when we disagree, we talk about it, because we do want to, children can be crafty, and if they sense that your approach is divided, you might find yourself in hot water. So, we realize that maybe we have a difference of opinion over something. We try to talk about that and work it out. We have to support one another, and she's right, So, like any couple, we handle things individually, and then when differences in parenting philosophy or parenting approach occur, we talk those out and kind of figure out how to go forward. Yeah. There's no perfect way of doing things, and I suppose you're always evolving, hopefully.
Last question. What advice would you guys give couples who are entering marriage as well as newlywed couples?
Well, if you're gonna work with the person you're marrying, you better like them a whole lot. We had worked together for some time, and so we knew that we were pretty good friends. Yeah. When we decided that we wanted to try and take it to another level, and so that was good. It was. I knew Carla was somebody whose company I enjoyed, and I knew she was a good person. I knew that she was a selfless person, and so when you get to that more romantic side of a relationship, and as that builds, for us at least, it was a real advantage to already be friends. But it's kind of one of those you can't choose your parents sort of thing. I mean, you can't necessarily choose the circumstances under which you meet and under which a relationship develops. But if you, I would say for any couple, make sure you get along well. Make sure you're friends. Yeah. Because make sure you've got some things in common. And for both of us, we have curiosities. Our backgrounds in different cultures, which we began by talking about, has both given us an interest in other cultures that maybe we don't know a lot about. Yeah. Italy, Spain, Argentina, Chile. Those are some of the places we've been to. We want to go around some other countries and go around the United States, because this country itself is so varied. And if you're curious about that, that's just one example. But if you're curious about travel, curious about cooking, curious about books, curious about ideas for raising a child, the best way that you know how, and you're open-minded to that, then for me that's important. And luckily enough, I've got somebody that shares that sort of outlook. So I guess as far as how does that come down to advice to young couples would be like, make sure there's some make sure there's some foundations you can build on, because the things that are exciting when you're 23, 24, 25, that's great. But make sure you've got some blocks to build on for as you get older and as your circumstances change, that you can grow together.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I believe so. I mean, one another thing is a lot of respect, a lot of trust, a lot of support. Nathan, when he came to my family, I mean, he was involved in a completely another world.
Mm-hmm.
My grandmother to go to a little tiny house and to be around chickens and stuff like that. He always respect, and he was always open and willing to accept what I come from.
Yeah.
And willing to be part of that and actually be one of us.
Yeah.
You know? Because Mexican culture always is really push you to be one of them, and he put up any resistance. He always wants to learn about the culture, and he wants to share that with his girls. And don't be embarrassed about different cultures. I mean, many people that I know, like you say, they stop speaking Spanish because they are embarrassed that other people hear them, or they feel intimidated that I don't speak well English. And we always support that.
Yeah.
So if you're gonna meet someone that comes from another culture, you really need to be in love. You really need to love her and support, because you're not only gonna marry her or marry him, you're gonna marry all the background.
Exactly. For you guys who don't know, Nathan's actually my boss. I work at Elmore Peterson Law Firm. Nathan, here you get a chance to give me a shameless plug for Elmore Peterson.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't know that I'm going to be utterly shameless, but you know, I'm an attorney at Elmore and Peterson. I'm the Elmore in that firm, and Carla was my first employee, and she's been with me for about 14 years now, I think, maybe a little bit more. And she's a paralegal with the firm, and so she's invaluable in helping me, talk to my clients, working with the new clients in the office, and we try to do a good job for Spanish-speaking clients that we have. Although we've got clients from other places, we've got clients from India and from the Middle East as well. And Raven, you do a good job too.
Thank you.
Raven has been with our office a few years now, and we represent a lot of people who have come here, minors that are trying to get their status in order, and Raven is able to help those. And so Raven and I work together real closely, and the big part of the firm is representing immigrants, people from other places. It might be on an immigration case. A lot of what we do is immigration. But people get into other sorts of legal problems, and so we try to help them with those if we can. And it's a good place to work, and I think we all get along pretty good for the most part.
Yes.
And
we have a lot of diversity.
We have a lot of diversity in the office. Yes, we do.
We're trying to keep all the culture. We have people from Guatemala. We have people with background. Where is Taiwan? Kyle.
Yeah.
And then we have people that have African background. From her parents, Raven. So we try to have a mix of culture instead of office.
Right. I think the diversity is good in a firm like ours. Diversity is sort of one of those corporate words that gets thrown around, and it's like, well, you need to be diverse, and so everybody's out trying to prove how diverse they are. And I think our diversity has sort of emerged more organically than that in response to a need. We have Spanish-speaking clients, so we need that. And some of the folks that Carla was talking about, if you have a diverse background in your staff and you're willing to listen to your staff, then you're going to hear points of view that you otherwise might not hear.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe when you say something that to you seems like the most reasonable, sensible thing in the world, it might not sound quite, it might, that might not quite sing in the ears of someone else's, in their mind.
Right.
And so you might get pushback on that. And so if you're willing to have an open dialogue with your staff and listen to them and see their point of view, and they can in turn see the client's point of view perhaps better than you can, then diversity really means something. It's not just not a hollow concept. It's not a marketing tool. It's something that actually makes your product and your firm better than it otherwise would be. And I can speak to our example, but I think there's probably lots of places where that idea would hold fast. So,
There you go. Thank you guys for joining us. I really appreciate it.